Welcome to Financial Confidence for High-Achieving Women, the go-to podcast for women of color entrepreneurs overwhelmed by their finances and ready to transform their money mindset, take control of their money, and build sustainable wealth. I'm your host, Taryn, better known as T-Money, certified financial coach and CEO of Money Honey LLC. I believe that abundance is your birthright and that good money management doesn't mean cutting out the joy from your life. Stick around to learn how you can build intentional money habits that align with your biggest lifestyle goals. Let's get into today's episode. Welcome to episode 23 of the Financial Confidence for High Achieving Women podcast. I'm your host, Taryn, better known as T-Money, and today we're tackling something that makes a lot of high achievers roll their eyes. In this episode, we're talking about when to use affirmations so that they actually work. Everyone loves to dismiss affirmations as woo-woo or complain that they feel fake and don't work, but here's what I've discovered. After years of studying mindset work and helping clients break through their major money blocks, the problem isn't affirmations themselves, it's the timing. I'm sharing the exact strategy of when and how to use affirmations that has transformed my relationship with money and my clients' financial confidence. And before we get into today's episode, if you're ready to take control of your finances like the rich bitch you are, I invite you to book a 90-minute Organize Your Money Honey intensive with me. You'll walk away with a crystal clear financial plan, a budget you'll actually stick to, and actionable steps to start saving and investing faster. Head to the link in the show notes to book your spot. Okay, here's the deal. This is why most people get affirmations wrong. They just it's like there's two sides of the coin, right? Like there's the one side where they feel like, oh, these are just nice to say. And like the more I say them, the more it just kind of shifts the belief. And then like, that's it. And then there's the other side that's like, saying a bunch of statements is not going to necessarily, change anything. And, there's kind of like the truth of it is somewhere in the middle, right? So when you are feeling really good, saying the affirmations, while great, is not going to have the same level of effect as when you say them in a moment of self-doubt or inadequacy, because that is really the time when your brain needs to be rewired. That's the time when you are really coming up against that belief when it comes to your mindset. And that's when it needs to be shifted, is when you're starting to feel like, it's not working out. Like a great example is, say you are, the affirmation you're focused on in this moment is, money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways. And so if you're just saying that, like every time it feels like, yeah, this money's coming to me in unexpected ways, while wonderful, it's really going to be useful for you to keep saying that and remind yourself of that when it feels like no money is coming, when it feels like it's not working out for you financially or that you might even be losing money. That is the best time to say money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways, because that is when we need to start to do the reframe to have the best effect. So, research shows that people with low self-esteem actually experience worse self-esteem and lower mood after repeating positive affirmations, while people with high self-esteem experienced a boost. And so this also gets into the other part that I talk about often, which is the self-worth in it all. So when we're saying these affirmations, or we're saying affirmations in general, we want to do it from that space of also knowing and understanding our worth, which means as well is that we're not going to say like 20 different affirmations at one time. It's good to focus on like 1 to 3 max. Okay. And so that's part of it. Now I kind of want to get into like an example of some visualizations and things that you can partner with your affirmations, so that way they're very useful to you. So let's kind of stick with the example that we had, right? So with the affirmation that money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways. So you're starting to feel like, money there's not any money coming. Maybe you're feeling a little stuck or a little stressed out, right, over a current financial situation. So that's when we want to first start by, you know, naming what the actual belief is that's coming through for you. So is it that you feel stressed, or is it that you feel that money isn't coming? And then I want you to like close your eyes, just take a minute to close your eyes and, think about, just breathe into it, right? Just take a couple deep breaths. And then I want you to like start to visualize what you want to happen. And in that, visualizing what it would look like if money comes to you in those expected and unexpected ways. In this case, with this affirmation, I would visualize, the expected way, and I would visualize like an unexpected way, like something that just feels out of left field. Like I never thought money could come to me in this way, right? We want to just continue to like hang out in those visualizations. And then as you continue to take a couple of deep breaths and you come back, then this is when we want to reinforce that by saying, money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways. And then identify that feeling. What does it feel like for money to come to you in expected and unexpected ways? What does that affirmation feel like now that you've done that visualization? And you want to keep that in mind. Like what are some of those things? Write that down even. What were some of the feelings that you had? Is it some joy? Is it like a warmth, the excitement? What does that feel like? Peace even? Like that's a good one, as I would say. But like that's one that I love the most. But like what are some of those feelings that come through for you as you do that visualization? You start to do that reframe of that belief. And so you can already tell that paired with the affirmation is going to be much more powerful than just repeating a sentence over and over and over again, And so that is also where having like, keeping your affirmations in like a list in your notes app or something in your phone. And then when those moments come up, when that like imposter syndrome makes an appearance, when that financial inadequacy comes up, when the stress is there, then you want to open that note and choose the affirmation that best pairs with that situation and do that practice that we just did right now. I usually work with clients to actually come up with some personalized affirmations for, things like salary negotiations or pricing conversations, investment decisions, so on and so forth. But like if with the ones you already have, you can start to do this practice. And this is going to help them work for you and actually start to like get that positive reinforcement. So like even something, so this is something that happened recently, which is just so wild. Like I still have moments where I'm like, is this real? And with the Rich Bitch Retreat, I had this feeling like maybe like 3 weeks ago now, where I was like, you know what? It feels like there are three more women who are meant to come on this trip with me. Now, mind you, at that time, there were probably like, it's a little less than 2 months until the retreat. But I was like, I'm really getting this feeling that three more women are meant to be there. I didn't really have a lot of evidence for it. There were a couple people who were, still on the fence of going. And there wasn't like a big, huge, like response in those last couple months of people being like, oh, I'm still trying to figure it out. Right. So I had no idea. I just kept showing up. So I kept talking about it. I kept talking about how I felt like there were three more people, and I kept saying it over and over again. Right. Just kept, putting it out there. I reached out, like, it's kind of like follow my intuition, right? So I reached out to whoever kind of came to mind. I continued to post about it everywhere. And, I talked about it with people that, I met up with. And then, with no, with no like obvious, like no obvious sign that this was happening. And so then, the last, like shortly after that, like a week after I felt that way, it just started to feel like things were going haywire in a way. Like it was having some like staffing issues. Like a couple of my team members like called out or didn't even like I had a couple no call no shows that week too, and it just was like, the first thing I knew to do, which would have been the expected way, right, is that I was like, I need to be able to post all the things and reach out to people and really promote. And when those staffing issues happened, that took away my ability to be able to do that in the way that I thought I needed to or wanted to. And so, I was frustrated for multiple reasons, but I was frustrated. But that was like, okay, well, the next week, like, it's going to get a little bit better. Well, then it did not necessarily get better. There were more like one of the person who was supposed to assist at the retreat itself, like completely stopped responding to things and was working on a couple of projects, and I had to take those over. And so there again goes my ability to like reach out or promote and do all the things I really wanted to do in the same, like with the same level of energy that I intended. And, I got to the point on Thursday where I was like, you know what? I don't know if this is going to happen, but I'm just going to trust that it's all coming together. And so what I did, right, is I was getting all of the gift stuff situated for our gift bags for the retreat. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to buy it for, to include those 3 additional women who I really believe are coming. And so I did. And it felt wild at the time, but I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna trust. Like it's all working out. It's all going to come together. And so then on Friday, the wildest thing happens. One of my previous clients calls me and she's like, "Hey, you're still looking for, 3 more people to join, right? For the retreat." And I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "I want to sponsor 4 women to go." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she was like, "You have made such an impact on my finances, on my life for the better. And if that means that if this means that another woman, that more women can experience the same thing to really like grow their wealth, to have the confidence that I now have in my finances after working with you, then I would love to be a part of, that mission." And I like y'all, I was pretty much ready to cry, all like bawl all my tears out. Um, like it was just one of those moments where I was like, "Are like what? Are you kidding?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm so serious." She's like, "If there's been, people who just, maybe there were some like, financial barriers for them coming, like I'd like to make that easier for them." And yeah. And so, um, you know, this these are the types of things that happen. And that was the unexpected way, right? And that is where, like, in those times where, like, I was feeling like, oh, I don't know. And there's a doubt there, right? That's where I kept repeating to myself, that affirmation of like, I trust that it's all going to work and come together. I trust that it's all going to work and come together, right? And then what happens is that I continue to take action and move forward, trusting that that is going to happen. And that's part of it with these affirmations. Like, as you're shifting that belief, it's not just about saying the thing, it's about then taking that action afterwards that aligns with the affirmation that you're saying. If you're saying that money comes to you in expected and unexpected ways, well, what is something that you can do right now that might be an expected way that leads to the expected way to make money? If it's another affirmation about, like um Like, I have confidence that I am, or like, I am enough, right? What's something that you can do after that that makes you feel like you are enough? Is it talking to the person who always reminds you that you're enough? Is it deciding that you have done enough work that day? And so, that is already enough, right? Like, what is the thing that you can do on the other side of that? Well, I sit here in gratitude over, one of my clients and just the difference that she's had in her life, but then also that she is paying it forward and now giving the opportunity for other, women to be a part of this experience. It's like, if I would have not trusted that this was working out, it might not have happened. If I would have just been like, oh, I'm not able to post the way that I want to post or show up the way that I want to show up, instead of just simply focusing on showing up, then maybe this wouldn't have happened. And I'm so glad I did, and I'm so grateful for the women I get to work with. And so that is it, like, that is how you make those affirmations actually work. It's, saying them. It's saying them at the proper time. It's using the visualization and tapping into the emotions of what that feels like. And then it's also giving yourself evidence that this is possible for you. It's taking that action and trusting that it's going to come to fruition. Trusting that you're going to build the confidence you keep talking about every day. Okay, so that's how you make them work. Now, for your action step, I want you to save 1 to 3 affirmations to your phone and use them when you need to shift your mindset, your energy, all of those things. Okay. And just have those available to you so that way you can also do the visualization exercise and everything that I just talked about. Now, if you want to continue to improve your finances, kind of tap into some mindset stuff and get into like the affirmations that actually work for you. So start to create some of those affirmations. You can book an Organize Your Money Honey intensive session with me. And then if there's still spots available, depending on when you listen to this, you could also be a part of the Rich Bitch Retreat with one of those sponsored spots. And with that, our next couple of episodes, one is how to set financial boundaries, and then another one is a gamifying dining out. I'm very excited for this one. My clients love this method. So it's going to be a good time. But anyways, with that, I will catch you in the next episode. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Financial Confidence for High Achieving Women podcast. I hope the insights shared in this episode have inspired you to take one small action step toward a more empowered relationship with money. If you're ready to take control of your finances like the rich bitch you are, I invite you to book a 90-minute Organize Your Money Honey intensive with me. You'll walk away with a crystal clear financial plan, a budget you'll actually stick to, and actionable steps to start saving and investing faster. Head to the link in the show notes to book your spot. I'm so grateful to be part of your financial journey, and I can't wait to see all the incredible moves you'll make. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode.